Alright, Shalom, call Lord Yahweh, Shem, Shah. Shalom to the elect. Now, I mentioned in previous videos that I put up basically about the Ukraine scenario and the tension that's been growing over there. And I was like, basically just pay attention to what's going on over there in Israel too, because there's going to be some stuff to pop up that stirs stuff up even more. Now, I happened to see this video online. It came out some days ago. I queued it up for later because I've been working a lot, so I can make sure I just come back to it. And it says Putin demands Israel hand over Jerusalem church. Now these heathens, these devils, they think that the third church and all this other shit can be built, a physical church, gonna be over there for them to actually go in and do this and do that or whatever. But when you read the scriptures, let's go to this real quick. Go to this in the book of Revelation. It says in chapter 21, if I'm mistaken. Now, once this third woe kind of pass, which that's been being talked about a lot too. I've been seeing a lot of different videos, a lot of truthers, and people that have different accounts. Let me see if I can pull this up on the side over here. It says, let me see. You got this infographics channel that I go to. I go check out different stuff or whatever. And you have different information on there. You got another video that says Rising Israel Palestine tension. How did we get here? And see, another reason too why a lot of stuff been happening. For one, the Most High put the spirit on them to do certain stuff. Then, on top of that, they've been finding out, like, hold up, these ain't even the people that's supposed to be over there. And you think if we know, you think these other nations don't know? They know. I'm going to read this. This is the book of Revelation, chapter 21, verse 1. It says, and I saw a new heaven and a new earth. For the first heaven and the first earth will pass away, and there was no more sea. And I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down from Yahweh out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. I heard a great voice out of heaven saying, behold, the tabernacle of Yahweh is with men, and he will dwell with them, and they shall be his people. And Yahweh himself shall be with them and be their power. And Yahweh shall wipe away all their tears from their eyes, and there shall be no more death, neither sorrow, nor crying, neither shall there be any more pain, for the former things will pass away. This hasn't happened yet, as you can see, all these events that's going on over there. Let my browser load up. And I'll let this video play. So hold on. Un momento. Refresh this browser. This tab. Sulaki. Bear with me 1 minute. That's real strange. Let me see if I can open it up in a minute. Alright, here we go. Now this guy right here, see if I can put that little pause in the browser want to act up. Once again, it's crazy how this stuff be happening. But I'm aware of shit-ton devices. Because when you looking up certain stuff, everything be running smooth. But when you look up something that's informative, like this right here, you don't really hear too much about it. Like, if you go ask average people right now about this scenario, they're not thinking about this stuff right now. They're not thinking about Revelation chapter 21. Not thinking about what this is going to lead to right here. Like the precept said, the least of the flocks will draw them out. This is the least of the flock. Now, if Putin do something towards this area, or set up whatever little operation, a psyop, they can make a psyop, whatever operation to stir something over here. And you know, Iran, the Persians, they in the midst too. This could lead to a real big, nasty scenario that the world don't even really expect right now. But they elect the real so-called watchmen, the seers. They know what's going on now. Now you got this guy, let me read this little info right here, his channel. It says, custody of Jerusalem Church is a major priority for Putin. Which one reason why, because they have those relics, they have those Russian icons. I'm sure those rabbis or those Orthodox Jews that they have over there, they look at those relics and be like, hold on, these people don't even match up with how these people look, how they carry themselves, none of that. Something off. And they do their homework, do their research, send their scholars out. I'm willing to bet you all my possessions that those scholars done came across some of these videos and heard some of this information and put one or two together and realized this precept right here. Then I'll let the video play. Book of Revelation chapter 2. Verse 9 says, I know thy works and tribulation and poverty, but thou art rich. Now I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. Now you think they ain't read this? And it was like, well, if they ain't them, who is it? Then they start reading and researching and seeing videos popping up, camps popping up. Let me continue reading on though. So you got this guy right here breaks down Russia, Israel agenda, Putin's big demand for the Israeli Prime Minister, Naftali Bennett. And you got this so-called pastor fighting in the front lines of Ukraine and sharing the gospel with his fellow soldiers. So let's listen to what he said. I was watching this, but let's listen to some more of the stuff what he said.
Supposedly the third holiest site in Islam, these rioters are using it as a weapons depot, essentially, a place to store weapons. And today, they hurl stones and Molotov cocktails from the mosque, and we have footage of it, as you can see.
Now, see, he's so being a damn devil gang. I had to run that back because I was watching it. It looked like somebody threw that in there and they was throwing it back out. They weren't throwing that shit from inside to outside.
Right there. So footage provided by the Israeli Foreign Ministry that posted that on social media, which is a good thing because the world can see the truth about what's really been happening. Israel has been.
And see, even though that they doing that and saying different stuff about one side doing this, one side doing that, either way it go, I don't care about neither one of them damn heathens. Just for one, When you do your homework and find out who land that is, I'm supposed to be over there. It kind of light a fuse in you and you be like, damn, this whole time we over here, you got niggas fighting over hoods and streets and blocks and cities and all this shit over here. And the whole time, the Holy Land, that's our land.
Accused of desecrating the Al-Aqsa Mosque, it's quite the opposite. The rioters who were egged on by Hamas are desecrating their own holy site.
Now look, let me go to this. As I'm going through this, I'm going to pull precepts to that I'm going through, so bear with me. Stuff keep popping in my mind. Alright, so book of Jeremiah chapter 30. I'm going to get a few of these precepts. Book of Jeremiah chapter 33 verse 7 is that I will restore Judah and Israel from captivity and rebuild them as in former times. This hasn't happened yet. This still hasn't happened yet. Technically, we still up under Esau, whether people want to admit it or not. You want to go travel to another country and get citizenship, who you got to go to? You can't just get up and say, oh, you know what? I'm finna move here and just set up shop. You want to get a business or something, who you got to go to? You want to buy property, who you got to go to? You want to get vehicles, who you got to go to? The list goes on, so we still up under it, just repackaged. But let me see. So that's a precept I want to get. Now, in the book of Jeremiah, chapter 32, and verse 37 said, behold, I will gather them out of all countries where I have driven them in my anger. That's why people scatter everywhere. The Most High is pissed with us. It says, in my fury and in great wrath, and I will bring them again unto this place. I will cause them to dwell safely. This hasn't happened yet. And there's definitely the Amalekites over there. They ain't dwelling safely over there. Now it says, and they shall be my people, and I will be their power, and I will give them one heart and one way, that they may fear me forever for the good of them, and of their children after them. And I will make an everlasting covenant with them. I will not turn away from them to do them good, but I will put my fear in their hearts, so they should not depart from me. This hasn't happened yet. Definitely didn't happen with the Amalekites over there, because they don't be fearing the Most High. What month? What it is? Let me see what month it is, because they got some junk coming up. It's April. I want to say like May, June time. They got that Pink City Parade. That ain't showing the fear of the Most High. All right, let me go on some more. Let me see. It says, yeah, I will rejoice over them to do good, and I will plant them in this land assuredly with my whole heart, with my whole soul, for thus says the Lord. As I have brought all this great evil upon this people. That's why you see how people got men fucking other men's wives. Men popping other men. Niggas shooting their own kind, robbing each other, finessing each other. Women being envious of other women, mothers being envious of their daughters. Fathers being envious of their sons, vice versa. The list goes on, man. Women having babies and aborting them in the damn Planned Parenthood. All this stuff goes on. The Most High brought this upon us. It says, as I have brought all this great evil upon this people, so will I bring upon them all the good that I have promised them. And the Most High really promised the whole lot when you really read these books and these precepts. You see certain dreams and stuff you see in your dreams. Stuff beyond that's beyond our wildest imaginations, is promised to us. In verse 43 it says, "A field shall be brought in his land, whereof ye say, it is desolate without man or beast. It is given to the hand of the Chaldeans. Men shall buy fields for money, and subscribe evidences in silver, and take witnesses in the land of Benjamin, and the places about Jerusalem, in the cities of Judah, in the cities of the mountains, and in the cities of the valley, in the cities of the south, for I will cause their captivity to return, saith the Lord." Now, none of this stuff hasn't happened yet. Let me go back. It's the book of Isaiah, chapter 14. Let me see. I want to start at. And this is what we got to look forward to. I was talking to somebody else not too long ago. Now I'll let this video play after this preset. There's different stuff keep popping into my mind. But hey guys, he was talking about the scriptures and stuff or whatever. People be losing faith. They be looking at stuff like that. Like, why should I have faith? Like, what's the reason? Like, and this one of the reasons right here is for the Lord will have mercy on Jacob, and we yet choose Israel and set them in their own land. This hasn't happened yet. We haven't been set in our own land. Like the Edomites made that bullshit song, this land is your land, this land is my land shit. That's Esau, that bullshit. This is not our land, even though we was dwelling over here. We inhabited this land before them. Our land is over there, where they fighting over to this day. It says, "And set them in their own land, and the strangers shall be joined with them, and shall cleave to the house of Jacob." It says, "And the people shall take them and bring them to their place. The house of Israel shall possess them, and the land of the Lord for servants and handmaids, and they shall take them captives, whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors." Which goes into that precept. Those who lead into captivity shall go into captivity. Those who kill with the sword will be killed with the sword. Here's the patience and the faith of the saints. This hasn't happened yet. Let me let this play a little bit more.
So that's number one. Number two, there was an annual prayer, I believe annual or semi-annual prayer ceremony, a large one today at the Western Wall, which is pretty fascinating. And there was also a march through Jerusalem.
Now hold on, now wait a minute. See, here as I continue on, most of goes on. I want to say it's in the book of Kings, if I'm not mistaken. I know I got it marked in my book. Let me see. I'm trying to quick find it real quick. Yep, First Kings chapter 8 and verse 30. Let me see. Let me go to it on here because I don't want to read it in that real old English. I know this video getting a little long too. I kind of want to try to make it short, but I keep getting these presets keep popping in my mind. I may do a part 2 on this one too, so bear with me, because I have a lot of edification that need to come out on this one. But it's in the book of First Kings chapter 8 and verse 30. Let me see if it's at. So almost out of verse 30 it says, "And hearken thou to the supplication of thy servant, to thy people Israel. They shall pray toward this place, and hear thou in heaven thy dwelling place. And when thou hearest, forgive. If any man trespass against his neighbor, and the oath be laid upon him to cause him to swear, and the oath come before thine altar in this house, then hear thou in heaven, and do and judge thy servants, condemning the wicked, to bring his way upon his head, and justifying the righteous, to give him according to his righteousness. When our people Israel be smitten down before the enemy, because they have sinned against thee, and shall turn again to thee, and confess thy name, and pray and make supplication unto thee in this house, then hear thou in heaven, and forgive the sin of thy people, and bring them again into the land which thou hast given unto their fathers. Now it says, when heaven is shut up, and there is no rain, because they have sinned against thee, they pray toward this place. And which place is that talking about? The east. That's why I want to bring this up. Because they over here praying towards the west. You're supposed to be praying towards the east, though. Which is another sign. Those is not who they claim to be. And I said that they pray toward this place and confess thy name, which they don't even call him the name. They say Hashem or Hashem, which just means in the name. When his name is Yahweh. And I've talked to rabbis and spoke to actual people personally and heard videos and different accounts. They don't say the name, and the reason being because the scripture says the name is dreadful among the heathen, so they're not going to speak on certain stuff. They're not going to say certain stuff. Now it says, "And turn from their sin, and thou afflicts them, then hear thou in heaven, and forgive the sin of thy servants and thy people, that thou teach them the good way wherein they should walk, and give rain upon thy land which thou hast given to thy people for an inheritance." Now, let me see. I think it's another part, and I want to do too. Also, I want to get out of that one. Let me go back. I'm going to this video.
Prayer ceremony, a large one today at the Western Wall, which is pretty fascinating. And there was also a march through Jerusalem, and it was stopped short of the Damascus Gate, which is in a Muslim area of the old city where there's been a lot of stabbings and a lot of tension over months and years. So a lot going on here in Jerusalem. God's city is a tinderbox right now, and again, as we reported on the newscast.
And why is that? That's because the actual people are supposed to be over there. Now over there. Now I'm gonna end this video off right here, and I'm gonna just come back and follow up and make a part 2 on this. Shalom.